Today I'm going to be looking at the Jabba's Rancor pit in Hasbro's Black Series. Now, this is the 3 3/4 inch Black Series, not the 6-inch scale Black Series. Hasbro, just as a side note here, really should have made these different names just to avoid confusion. When you're talking about things or searching online, it's frustrating not to be able to easily tell the 6-inch from the 3 3/4 inch series. And in particular, when this was first announced, people were kind of excited that maybe, oh, we're going to get a 6-inch scale Rancor. Wouldn't that be awesome? Well, yeah, it would be awesome. But we didn't get that. We got this, which is a repack of a number of older figures and one new figure, which we will get into shortly. Now, the first thing we need to kind of talk about, this came out all the way back in July, and I got one right away. But I did not really want to open it and take everything out and fully review it, frankly, just for kind of selfish reasons, because this thing costs $130 retail. And, I didn't want to take everything out because I already had all of these figures, and I like to keep a boxed example of all the Jabba sets, all the sets that include a Jabba figure. So, until fairly recently, I just took out the Jabba, but left everything else in place. However, I recently got one of these sets fairly cheaply, so I thought I would just go ahead and open it up and show you what's inside. It's a Toys R Us exclusive, although it was also what you call an SDCC exclusive, San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. That kind of exclusive is that's kind of a misleading term, because what that really means is that it's been first released at San Diego Comic-Con, but then very shortly after that will be available at Toys R Us exclusively. It's still available in stores. I don't think it's online anymore. It was. I got mine originally online. But in fact, my local store never got these in store, as far as I know. Just to go over the contents of the set, we have the Rancor himself, obviously. We have Luke, Jedi Luke, a Gamorrean Guard, Slave Leia, C-3PO, and Jabba himself. And so that's what... we got, well, I mean, if you want to count the Rancor as a figure, that's 6 figures. Now, as I said, I wanted to keep one of these boxes sort of unopened and pristine, or as pristine as possible. It's a gigantic box, and especially a lot of stores are putting the security devices on these. They strap them on with wires and stuff, which kind of will ruin the box if you're really concerned about that kind of thing. It's very difficult, I think, to find a really nice condition box of this. And, especially if you look like on the side here, it's really gigantic. It's really deep. You're going to have a hard time finding a normal shelf that would even accommodate a box of this depth. So it's something to think about if you do want to get a boxed example. Now, let's look at the back a little bit. We have the usual black and white photo of the Rancor enjoying a little Gomorian Guard treat. And it says, in his palace on Tatooine, Jabba the Hutt treats Princess Leia as one of his slaves. Luke Skywalker infiltrates the palace but has no luck persuading Jabba to release his friends. Instead, the crime lord throws Luke into the Rancor pit, along with an unlucky Gamorrean Guard. As the vicious Rancor attacks, everyone gathers round to watch as Luke fights for his life. Now, one interesting thing about this set is if you look at the contents, it tells you what it includes. There are a couple of weird things about it. Well, let's just read it first. It says, it includes Jabba the Hutt figure, Rancor figure, Princess Leia figure, Luke Skywalker figure, Gomorian Guard figure, and hookah pipe. Now, the thing is, it does not include a hookah pipe. I'm not even sure what they were originally thinking here. I mean, it sounds as though, perhaps, they were originally going to include Jabba's hookah and railing, presumably. You can't just include the hookah, because there's not even a way for it to stand up. and then they changed their mind. You may have also noticed that there's no C-3PO mentioned here. Weird, you know? Why why didn't they correct this? You know, I can only guess that they swapped C-3PO for the hookah pipe at some point. Frankly, I would have probably preferred the hookah just because, you know, it makes Jabba feel like he's a little bit more complete, and you can get a C-3PO just about anywhere. But anyway, on the side it's just this, you know, there's just a blank side, and so if you're thinking of keeping this in the box, that's something to think about, because, you know, there's nothing to see over there. You do have this nice large window here, so you can see inside relatively well, and it continues up on top of the box like this, so you can see down inside fairly well to see Jabba and everything. And inside there's a kind of decoration on the the cardboard inside to make it look as though it is Jabba's palace. There's some sort of stone-like decoration, so you know it's not a terrible package. Certainly has the Toys R Us exclusive sticker right there. So without any further ado, I want to go ahead and open this up, and we'll see what the individual figures are like. But before we look at the figures themselves, I thought I would give you a quick glance at the inside cardboard, just to show you. It's got a little bit of a rock background in here. You know, this is what Jabba was resting on. This is what it looks like when you take out all the plastic inside holders and things like that. Yeah, I mean, it's alright. It's better than just totally plain cardboard, but it's not fantastic. In the back, you do see, I don't know if you can see this, there's the gate that falls down on the Rancor, so. Aw, look at this guy. He's playing with his daddy's bathrobe. Oh wait, this is Luke. Right. Yeah, he comes with this soft goods robe, and, well, I've never really been a fan of these on the Jedi figures, to be honest with you. Doesn't look fantastic. It's very oversized. And, you know, it's not even the right kind of robe. Luke, when he was in Jabba's palace, wore a cloak, which is, you know, doesn't have any sleeves on it. So this is kind of lazy on Hasbro's part. I think they kind of just made a, well, took a robe from probably an existing Jedi figure and just tossed it in there, said that would be good enough for Luke. He does come with a regular ignited saber and an unignited saber, although as far as I can tell, there's no place to like attach this to his belt or anything like that, so I'm not really sure how useful the unignited one would be. Aside from that, it's a nice figure, I think. It does have just a hint of soft goods here on the side, and then this part is rubber, which is a little bit of a weird choice, but it actually looks okay here. Next up, we have the Gamorrean Guard figure, which is the same as the vintage collection Gamorrean Guard, which has been quite a popular figure. You know, that's to get that on eBay it's relatively expensive. I have a number of them because I just really love this figure. It's maybe my favorite figure that Hasbro has ever made because it's basically perfect. The only thing, I mean, you could complain maybe about the fuzzy stuff here that, you know, maybe if you don't like, first of all, soft goods at all, I could understand that, or it does seem a little bit oversized perhaps, but just the, you know, the sculpt, the paint, it is just excellent. And he comes with 2 axes, and also this sort of, I guess, force pike, or I'm not exactly sure what exactly this is, but sort of a halberd-looking weapon. So he has no shortage of accessories as well. And this his hat or helmet is also removable, although frankly I'm not sure why you would want to, because he looks a little weird without it. But just really excellent figure. If you don't have one of these, this, I suppose, would be one of the main draws for getting this set. Next up, we have Jabba's hookah. Wait, no, this is C-3PO. I get them confused all the time. This is, another one of these figures that has been released in the past. It's a pretty nice figure. I like the metallic paint job they've done. I mean, if you can't have it be chromed, at least it looks pretty nice as a gold effect. One thing, though, to keep in mind is that this version of C-3PO that they've chosen has removable parts. So you can take off his faceplate, you can take off his sort of chest plate here, if I can figure out how to do that. There we go. And even one of his legs has a removable section. And the thing is, this doesn't really make that much sense for a Jabba's Palace version of the character. I mean, the faceplate, maybe you could pretend that Salacious Crumb was attacking him or something, although, of course, Salacious Crumb is not included in the set, which seems like an oversight. But for the other ones, that never happened it never happened in the original trilogy at all, where he had all these parts taken off, as far as I can recall. Still, he looks nice figure. I can't really complain too much. Up next, we have Slave Leia. Now, this is a pretty nice figure. I'd say this is definitely one of the nicer versions that Hasbro has made for this character. She's got pretty good articulation, a little separate plastic chain. Comes with a force pike that she liberated from one of the guards on Jabba's sail barge. And, of course, you've got the soft goods on the bottom. I'm not, as I said, a huge fan of cloth on these figures. Just doesn't look right in a lot of cases, but it's okay, I guess. It's a little bit oversized looking here as well. Now, the thing is, as I mentioned, this has been released in the past, and in the very first release, they actually included another accessory, which is a set of sitting legs, which you can see here. And this allowed you to have Slave Leia sit in front of Jabba on a little pillow in a very sort of natural manner. Now, you can have this figure sit, thanks to the articulation. You can sort of do that, and it looks alright, but not quite as good. And, it's a little bit too bad that they didn't include those. Interestingly, you can still dismember this new figure like that, which is what you did to attach the sitting legs, but there's no reason to do that, of course. They also included, by the way, this little drinking cup. This had been included as a Leia accessory in the past, although really I think it's more of a Jabba accessory, because it was his cup that he was drinking from. Also, if you look at these figures closely, you can see that the original one over here has significantly better paint, and this is kind of a common theme with a lot of these sort of repack sets. The paint is usually not nearly as nice. Now, so we look over here, bring her in closer. It's just really clean, it looks nice. And over here, not quite as good, and they've gone way over onto her forehead with the hair color there, which just doesn't look very good. So yeah, a little disappointing in that respect. We'll see more of that in a little bit. The Jabba's Rancor set wouldn't be much of a set without the Rancor itself. So here we are with the big guy. And this particular Rancor was released as a Target exclusive a while back. And it actually held its value really well on eBay after that. Because this is probably the best Rancor that they've made in this scale, or really any scale, I suppose, as a figure. Now, that original Target set did have some variations in paint. Some were lighter and darker than other ones. This one has variations in paint within the figure itself, which is a little weird. If you can look at his leg here, the feet are sort of a different color, lighter color, and then the leg is quite a bit different. It just looks weird, and you can see that elsewhere on the figure as well. Like, oh, this sort of back/torso area seems to be quite a bit different than the shoulders, and I don't know, it just seems like it's been pieced together, which of course it has, which is not great, but generally speaking, this is a great Rancor, great sculpt, surprisingly articulated. He's got articulation in the hands. He can go like this to give you a big hug. He's got articulated, let's see if we can get in closer, an articulated mouth. And even his head will turn. He's got real metal for his earring and for this little chain here. So aside from that issue with the paint, I would say this is a fantastic Rancor, and one of the big draws for this set would be this, of course. He's got one hand over here that is sort of posed in a way that would allow you to easily put Luke in there, although you can't quite get him actually to his mouth. That's one small problem, but overall, I'm a big fan of this figure, and if you don't have this, I would say this would be a major draw for the set. For me, though, the biggest draw for this set by far was this figure, because it is a brand new Jabba figure, sort of. I say sort of because this is actually a scaled down version of Hasbro's 6-inch Black Series Jabba. But, you know, in terms of the 3 3/4-inch line, we've never had this figure, and it's an attractive one, in my opinion. You can debate whether this one or maybe one of the earlier Jabbas is better or more attractive, but certainly it's nice to have this option. I will say, though, well, first of all, that the detail on here is a lot softer than on the 6-inch version. I don't know if you can tell. It just seems kind of soft. The paint is also, if we can look closely, not fantastic, because they've kind of misaligned the paint for the nostrils. This drool paint looks kind of overly simplistic, and there's parts, I don't know if you can see it or not, but where it's just sort of cracking. It just doesn't look great. They did include Jabba's tail scar here, which is, interestingly enough, not present on the original Black Series figure. Let's look at that out here. So that is one difference. This is more accurate in that sense. But if you look on, if you compare these two figures, this one has a lot more detail. It's got this rubber skin that allows you to open his mouth. And that is not here. This is just a plastic head. So, one other difference is that, a minor difference is that this one has sort of the same gripping hand on both sides, whereas this one is open on one side, and this side is gripping, for using his hookah pipe. I kind of like this open hand because it allows you to sort of gesture. Hi! But this is definitely still a nice figure, I think, and you can get this on eBay by itself right now, maybe for around $40, which is high, but if you don't want to get the entire set, if you already have the figures, that's an option. The real question a lot of people are asking, I imagine, is it worth getting this set? And it really depends on what you already have. If you owned, as I did, everything but the Jabba, I would probably not buy the set unless you can get it super cheap. You might get the Jabba just on his own on eBay or something like that. If, on the other hand, you don't have any of these figures, yeah, it's actually a really good deal in some ways. It wasn't that long ago that the Rancor by himself cost maybe like 75 bucks, and the Gomorian would be 20 or 30 in some cases. So, you know, you're basically getting your value right there. If you have just a few of these figures, then it's more of a judgment call, and you have to sort of decide on your own. I will say these sets are currently being, I don't know if they're clearanced out or they're being anyway put on sale for quite a bit less than the original $130 at many stores. So if you can find it and get a good deal on it, I would definitely recommend it. It's a solid set. It could have been really nice if they had included Salacious Crumb and the hookah pipe, for example. I would have really preferred that to, say, C-3PO, probably. Nothing against C-3PO, but if you want a Jabba's Palace set, I would say those are a bit more crucial. What do you think about this set? Have you picked it up? Or are you planning to? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.